This is my reading reflection 3. The prompt is analyze how particular children from our readings are socially constructed and how they could have been changed with some of the pedagogical philosophies that we've learned in class and how this has impacted my philosophy. So the first student that I chose from our readings is Ray, and Ray was skipping his dance class about 50 or 60 times. And what I got from his story that was being socially constructed was that the whole situation was a co-construction of failure because his counselor um, put him in this dance class instead of putting him in basketball class that he wanted. So he didn't want to go to the dance class, and that's why he skipped. But he went to all of his other classes, which I think is a huge thing. So he wasn't just putting off the dance class, or just putting off the all of his classes. It was just that dance class because he didn't want to be in there. And even though he tried getting out, he wasn't getting any help. So another socially constructed thing that happened to him was the push out method, where he was pushed out from the school to another one because he was skipping a lot. So what I thought would be the best way to fix this is obviously building a relationship. If the counselor school was active in Ray's academics, they could have transferred him sooner out of that dance class or not put him in the class at all. If they knew him well enough, they knew he wouldn't have succeeded or he didn't want to be there. And if they would have listened, I feel like listening to what he wanted was a huge mistake in that. So definitely that's what led to him being pushed out, because they didn't want to deal with his problem of not wanting to be in the class. So in turn, he failed and had to be pushed out of his class, or pushed out of that school to a new one that wanted or could deal with him. The next student that I picked was Nia, and I feel like her socially constructed problem was the discipline disparity in the school to prison pipeline. So the story is that they found, well, she was getting into altercations with a love interest brother. He was picking on her because he didn't like that she was a lesbian. And they found, well, they believed his story that he was the victim and she was attacking him. They found her lighter that was also a pocket knife. I feel like a huge thing was that they didn't ask why she had it, and the reason why she was having it is because she didn't feel safe. And I feel like overall that something that stood out to me was that in the article is that she wants somewhere that had structure and kept her out of trouble, so other than jail. So that's why she joined the army, because she never felt safe in her surroundings. So a huge thing that, or a huge philosophy that they could have used more, was the social emotional lens. If that was practiced in her school, she could have been able to express her feelings of feeling judged for her sexuality more, and more recognition would be given to her on why she was feeling unsafe, and then the school could have helped her feel safe again in school. So yeah, and then another one was restorative justice. They could have repaired Nia or helped Nia out instead of punishing her for her having the knife, even though she never used the knife on the kid in the first place. She just had it as a precaution, and she kind of forgot she had it in school. So if they would have worked on her and with her, they would have realized that, her attacker's story wasn't true. So yeah. And again, building a relationship, if people or teachers or the school knew her, they would have known why she was feeling unsafe, and they could have avoided the whole thing altogether. And then the last student that I had is Michael, and his problem was being positioned into special ed and being dislocated. He was being placed in special ed for being behind in classes and not for his dyslexia. He hated being in special ed, and teachers thought he was slow because he didn't try hard. And And overall, he wasn't getting out of special ed, even though he was succeeding, and he couldn't show that what he took from this success into regular classes. So, a huge thing that he could have used to help him succeed is a warm demander. So I feel like if he would have had a warm demander teachers in elementary school, especially when he was slacking or not really caring as much because they were just, as he put it, promoting him all the way up until he got to middle school, he wouldn't have been shocked by middle school expecting so much of him. So if he would have had a warm, demanding teacher, they would have, or teachers, they would have expected him to do his work on time and like be active and not lazy. So another thing they could have done is, again, build a relationship. If the school counselors or teachers took interest in his improvement and no one, or took interest in his improvement, they would have helped him get out of special ed because he worked so hard to get out of there. And as soon as he realized he wasn't getting out of there, he again stopped caring again and started to not do as well. So I feel like, again, building a relationship would have been a big thing. So overall, these readings influenced my philosophy by showing how important it is getting to know your students and being aware of everything in different situations and not just focusing on situations having one issue or there's just one side to the story of the issue at hand, that there's multiple reasons why it's happening, and there's multiple sides to every story. So yeah, that's my reading reflection.